Int fl-Ewropa ma' Amanda Ċappara.
Nilqakom għal ġimgħa oħra għal episodju ieħor mis-sensiela Int fl-Ewropa, dawn il-programmi li jilna għaddejjin bihom minn Ottubru li għadda bħala parti mill-proġett Int fl-Ewropa, proġett li huwa kofinanzjat mill-Parlament Ewropew. Aktar ma jgħaddi żmien u aktar ma tidħol lejn nofsa din is-sena, aktar qed naraw determinazzjoni mill-istituzzjonijiet kollha tal-Unjoni Ewropea biex it-tfal ikunu protetti mill-pjattaformi tal-medja soċjali u anke mill-attakki ċibernetiċi dawk li forsi bl-Ingliż nafuhom aktar cybersecurity attacks. Għaliex din l-insistenza u għaliex din id-determinazzjoni? Illa għaliex hemm ħafna każijiet ta' tfal u qed jiżdied ħafna aktar il-kontenut li huwa perikolus għal tfal speċjalment taħt it-13 sena. Ovvjament bħalma dejjem jingħad kemm il-Parlament Ewropew kif ukoll mill-Kummissjoni Ewropea, it-tfal m'għandhomx ikunu għad-dispożizzjoni tal-pjattaformi soċjali iżda bil-kontra il-pjattaformi soċjali għandhom ikunu għad-dispożizzjoni tan-nies bħala għodot u mhux bħala dawk li jagħmlu business minn fuq dak li jaraw it-tfal u speċjalment meta jkollhom disin li jkun qed qabbad vizzju dak l-addictive design. Fil-fatt xi ftit xhur ilu fil-Parlament Ewropew ħanoħodkom ftit lura fi żmien kien hemm persuna Irlandiża, Irlandiża bl-isem ta' Jackie Fox li din tkellmet ċaru tont kif il-bullying fuq il-pjattaformi soċjali il għaliex huma permessi mill-pjattaformi soċjali nfushom u m'hemm l-ebda liġi kważi sissa tirregolhom. It-tifla tagħha spiċċat neħħiet ħajjitha bidejha minħabba dan il-bullying li kien ilu għaddej 3 snin u nofs u f'mument minnhom din it-tifla ma felħitx aktar. Fl-istess waqt 92% tal-Ewropej qalu li l-protezzjoni tat-tfal online aktar ma jgħaddi żmien aktar hija priorità assoluta u fil-fatt dan ħareġ mill-istħarriġ tal-Ewrobarometru maħruġ dan ix-xahar. Ejja flimkien nisimgħu x'kellha xi tgħid din l-omm Irlandiża Jackie Fox meta indirizzat il-Parlament Ewropew.
I stand before you with a heavy heart, but also fierce determination. My beautiful daughter, Nicole, was a vibrant, funny, bubbly young woman. She was the light of every room with a huge smile, kind eyes, and always willing to help others. Even though Nicole used to sing, she had the most horrific singing voice that you could ever hear. But that never stopped her. She used to just sing her heart out. I had years of happy childhood memories with Nicole. Nicole never suffered from mental health issues or anxiety as she was growing up. That all came later on with the bullying. But Nicole, like so many others, were targeted by relentless physical and online abuse for 3.5 years. Why? Because of jealousy, drama, and because they could. Some of these were her so-called friends. It started with just one person. And this main girl, she targeted Nicole, but she was a coward. She couldn't target Nicole on her own because it's so much easier to target someone online when you have a group behind you. So that's what she did. She got a group of sheep, a group of followers to target Nicole because she couldn't do it on her own. And that's what a coward is. The physical attacks were they stuck cigarettes into Nicole's skin every chance they could get. They pushed her so hard into the corner of a table that they actually dislocated Nicole's hip. Next one. They dragged her down a flight of metal stairs by the hair until she reached the end. And they would also beat her up every single chance they could get. You know, she could only just have to walk down to the shop and she'd run into these people and they would just beat her up every chance they could get. They made a fake profile page on Facebook and they said that they were never going to leave her alone, that they were going to beat her up so badly and leave her on life support. But it was actually the online bullying that took Nicole away from me. Online, they told Nicole every day, with the likes of WhatsApp and Snapchat and all other social media apps, they told her every day to die, go and hang yourself, slit your wrist, everyone hates you, why are you still here? Encouraging Nicole every day to kill herself. They also sent her videos of a noose many times on how to hang yourself. From my funny, lively, bubbly little girl, Nicole, she started to spend so much time in her room. And this is where the self-harm started to happen. Nicole used to get her nails and she would dig them so deep into her skin until she bled. She would dig them so deep into her legs, and other times into her belly, until she was so frustrated she dug her nails so deep into her face. Nicole wasn't a bully. She didn't understand why these horrible, nasty people were targeting her. She didn't know how to deal with it. Nicole used to go she would go to bed every night, and every day, the next morning, she would wake up feeling just as bad as she did the night before. Nicole's anxiety got worse and worse, and every time she would always say to me, "What are they going to do next to me, ma'am?" It was impossible to get back my funny, bubbly, lively young woman that I once knew. These people, these sheep, and this nasty coward shared videos on WhatsApp. They shared a video of a girl, some random girl, and this girl had her face blurred out. But this girl was with 3 other men. But they shared videos all over social media saying, look what Nicole's doing now. So they would send so many videos of Nicole. On the 18th of January 2018, myself and Nicole's 14-year-old brother arrived at home. And as we opened the door, right in front of us, Nicole had got the stepladder and the dog's lead, and she was hanging from the banisters into the hallway. I begged Nicole's 14-year-old brother to help me take her down. Nicole was barely breathing. When Nicole was rushed to hospital in the ambulance, and on the way to the ambulance, unknown to me, at this stage, Nicole took a massive, massive heart attack and died. But the brave little girl of mine, she held on for 3.5 years, being physically abused, burned, dislocated hip, being beaten up, and then the 3.5 years with the online bullying on top of that. Nicole didn't want to die. On the way to the hospital, the ambulance crew got Nicole's heartbeat back again. In the hospital, I remember the doctor called myself and Nicole's 2 brothers into a room. Nicole's brother, who had just unhooked a dog's lead from his sister's neck, asked the doctor, "Is she going to be okay?" The doctor replied, "No, she is going to die. She has got extensive brain damage and her organs are going to start to shut down." What he was really telling me was that Nicole was never, ever coming home to me again. After losing Nicole to horrible, nasty cowards online, I discovered that there was no law in Ireland. Even though social media was getting bigger and bigger, there was nothing in place to protect adults or children from these vicious attacks. I was horrified and sickened to learn from the police that the people who ripped the soul from my daughter's body will never, ever be prosecuted. I decided to go with my little girl one night. I was missing her so much. All I wanted to do was give her a hug, give her a kiss, smell her hair, touch her skin. And I missed everything about her. There was days that I couldn't even breathe with crying that much. Instead, I stayed for my boys. But to stay, I needed a focus, a plan, something to keep me here, something to get me out of bed every morning. So I decided to campaign to make online bullying a criminal offence. I had many protests outside Leinster House in Dublin. I had a huge march through Dublin City, and everyone brought a little single pink balloon in for Nicole. I had meetings upon meetings with TDs and ministers, but most of all, I had the help from the amazing Irish people at the time. After 3 years of campaigning, on the 28th of December 2020, Coco's Law was signed into the Irish statute books. And then the law commenced in Ireland on the 9th of February 2021. This was my little girl's legacy. And when she died, I always said to my mum, "Mum, I'm going to make sure she's never, ever going to be forgotten." Now she has her own little legacy. Is it good enough? No. I would do anything, and I mean anything, to have my little girl back. The law was the biggest bitter-sweet moment of my life. The sweet moment is that Ireland and every person over the age of 12 has now got Coco's Law to protect them. But I had to lose my daughter for other people to gain. If the law had been in place earlier, maybe, just maybe, Nicole would be still here.
Dik l-istorja ta' sew xokkanti ta' din l-om li kella istess tassisti lit-tifla tagħha meta sabita id-dar wara li wetqet suwiċidju minħabba dan il-bullying kollu li kien ilu għaddej minn sħaba stess tal-iskola fuq il-pjattaformi soċjali, din il-mara waslet biex fl-Irlanda tagħmel differenza, imma issa l-messaġġ tagħha anke qiegħed jinfirex mal-pajjiżi Ewropej. Fil-fatt id-diskussjoni fih dan il-Parlament Ewropew bdiet ila li bdiet u issa anka tul dawn il-jiem li għaddew bis-sem ukoll tal-Kummissarju Malti Glenn Mikallef tpoġġa pjantazzjoni li qed tissuġġerixxi l-Kummissjoni Ewropea. Pjantazzjoni biex din il-kwistjoni tittieħed aktar bis-serjetà u l-ħsara li qed tagħmel il-medja soċjali tittieħed aktar u aktar bis-serjetà, speċjalment fil-konfront ta' minorenni u fil-konfront ta' nies vulnerabbli. Il-Kummissarju Malti Mikallef saħaq li l-innovazzjoni diġitali trid timxi id-fit mas-sigurtà offruta online u li l-Unjoni Ewropea dejjem tħeġġeġ it-tkabbir tal-intelligenza artifiċjali iżda mhux għaskapitu ta' ħajjet persuni li jkunu aktar vulnerabbli. Ejjew nisimgħu x'kellu xi jgħid il-Kummissarju Ewropew Glenn Mikallef meta ndirizza il-Parlament Ewropew.
Dear President and honourable members, the European Union continues to be globally a frontrunner when it comes to the protection of children's rights. This is reflected in both our legal but also in our policy frameworks. The flagship legislation here is the Digital Services Act. This ensures a safety by default approach, a safer internet by setting very high standards for the protection and the empowerment of all minors online. And this is the strongest tool that we have in our arsenal. And we have shown, the Commission has shown, time and again, that it is not afraid to use it. Everyone can already see what real implementation looks like, from TikTok to Grok, and more recently with Meta. The Commission has acted swiftly and without hesitation. I would like here from this podium to thank our services in the Commission for their dedicated work, to thank my colleague, Executive Vice President Hanna Verkunen, for her strong and firm stance on this important file. This is what credibility looks like in practice, setting the rules and enforcing them. But the Commission is not stopping there. We understand that we have a duty and a responsibility to provide clarity on what the obligations in our laws mean, on what we expect. This is why the Commission has developed a blueprint for an age verification solution. This is based on the highest possible standards when it comes to privacy and to data protection. And yesterday, as a College of Commissioners, we adopted a recommendation that paves the way for this to be accessible to all European citizens on their devices. We are clearly laying down the actions that we expect from member states and we are defining an EU-wide governance. Moreover, the President has now convened a special panel on child safety online and on potential age restrictions. The panel brings together experts from the medical, tech, and education sectors. They are also joined by youth, by children, and by parent representatives. And they are currently assessing what more can be done at a European level. They are constantly in touch also with the European Parliament Intergroup on Children's Rights. And their recommendations will come before the summer. Because let's make no mistake, this is an issue that needs our urgent attention. With a quarter of children aged between 12 and 17 years of age, 25% of children in Europe experiencing cyberbullying, we have to act quickly. Behind each of these numbers is a person. Behind each of these numbers is a parent, a son, a daughter, and a precious life. So we cannot afford to hear more heartbreaking stories like the one of Coco, which this chamber heard about last month, and we need to act fast. So yes, the Commission agrees with you, honourable members, that cyberbullying is a serious threat to young people and to their well-being. This is why, as a college, we sent a strong message with the dedicated action plan on cyberbullying. Stronger together, safer online. We included therein, for the first time, a common understanding of cyberbullying, a definition. Because understanding creates awareness, and awareness helps to break stigma and to effectively address this issue. It is also important to remember that at EU level, cyberbullying does not exist in a legal vacuum. There are existing rules that already criminalize it when it involves hate speech, incitement of violence, or online abuse, notably under the Framework Decision on Racism and Xenophobia and the Directive on Violence Against Women. Beyond this, the action plan focuses on 3 pillars. First, protection. Here we make the full use of our existing legislation, but we also look at where we can better address cyberbullying in the future. This includes the upcoming review of the Digital Services Act guidelines under Article 28 and the ones on trusted flaggers. Similarly, we will consider cyberbullying during the ongoing evaluation of the Audiovisual Media Services Directive and its review. The second pillar is prevention. More digital literacy by teaming up with partners like Safer Internet Centers and the Better Internet for Kids platform. And finally, empowerment. It must be easier to report than to bully people online. We must break silence around cyberbullying. And reporting must make a difference. For the time being, this will be implemented using existing tools. Some measures will be implemented by the Commission, and for others, we will team up with Member States who can also do a lot. In addition, strengthening the child guarantee will also contribute to ensure that the protective, preventive, and empowering measures reach the most vulnerable children, making sure that every child feels safe, online as well as offline, with his or her rights and their dignity fully respected.
Sa dan it-tant il-President tal-Kummissjoni Ewropea Ursula von der Leyen meta kienet qed tipparteċipa din il-ġimgħa f'Summit Ewropew dwar l-intelligenza artifiċjali u it-tfal li sar fid-Danimarka sostniet li bl-ebda mod m'għandna naċċettaw algoritmi iddisinjati apposta biex ikabru il-vizzju speċjalment fost it-tfal meta jaqbdu dak il-vizzju ta' scrolling mingħajr tmiem u anka ċertu kontenut li tiġi ippreżentat fuq dawn il-mezzi soċjali. Ursula von der Leyen qalet li diġà qed jittieħdu passi iżda mhux biżżejjed u għalhekk nediet anka kumitat ta' esperti biex iwittu anka it-triq u jagħtu pariri kemm jista' jkun aġġornati u sewja lill-Kummissjoni Ewropea biex din toħloq strateġija għalfejn trid tmur il-qafas legali Ewropew biex nissalvagwardjaw il-dawn it-tfal taħt 13 il-sena. Fil-fatt bħalissa wkoll għaddejjin proċeduri fil-konfront ta' TikTok għad-disin b'vizzju tiegħu. L-istess ukoll qed isir fuq Meta minħabba li kemm Instagram u anke Facebook mhumiex jiffunzjonaw u jinfurmaw lil dak li jkun li huwa ta' 13 sena jħalluhom jaċċessaw dak kollu li hemm f'dawn il-pjattaformi u anka proċeduri oħrajn għaddejjin fil-konfront ta' X minħabba l-użu ta' grok fil-ħolqien tal-materjal online li juri espliċitament abbuż sesswali fuq it-tfal. Nisimgħu x'qalet Ursula von der Leyen meta kienet qed tieħu sehem f'dan is-summit Ewropew.
We do not have to accept addictive social media design. We do not have to accept children being drawn into ever more extreme content. We do not have to accept that girls and women have their photos used for AI-generated sexualized images. As Margrethe said, Europe has the power to act. It is us who decide our rules, not the tech companies. We are taking action against TikTok and its addictive design, the endless scrolling, the autoplay, the push notifications, you name it. The same applies to Meta, because we believe Instagram and Facebook are failing to enforce their own minimum age of 13. We launched proceedings against X for Grok's use in creating and spreading material depicting child sexual abuse. We're investigating platforms that allow children to go down the so-called rabbit holes of harmful content, such as videos that promote eating disorders and self-harm. All of this is possible because we have created a powerful tool, the Digital Services Act. And we have also created the Digital Markets Act to prevent platforms from abusing market power. We have already closed cases with Apple and Meta, with investigation ongoing with Google. We have shown that we will forge ahead despite the headwinds we face. We've set the rules, it's the law, and those who break it will be held accountable. But we also know we must do more. And that is why we have established a special panel of experts on child safety online to advise us. And without preempting the panel's findings, I believe we must consider a social media delay. Depending on the results, we could come with a legal proposal this summer. We're witnessing the lightning speed at which technology is advancing and how it penetrates every corner of childhood and adolescence. And the discussions about a minimum age for social media can no longer be ignored, as you all know here in this room. Almost all EU member states call for an assessment on the need for it. At the moment, Denmark wants to introduce one, 9 other member states too. The European Parliament has come to the same conclusion. The question is not whether young people should have access to social media. The question is whether social media should have access to young people.
Inħallu hemmhekk l-attakki ċibernetiċi u anka il-periklu li jeżisti fuq il-pjattaformi soċjali, speċjalment fil-konfront ta' minorenni taħt 13-il sena, u nistennew dak is-suġġett li jkompli ikun diskuss u anka tinħoloq ukoll pjantazzjoni biex naraw fejn sejrin. Ovvjament anka pajjiżi individwali membri tal-Unjoni Ewropea fosthom Malta qed tiddiskuti il-fejn għandna mmorru f'dan ir-rigward. Però għalissa nħallu ftit dak il-suġġett fil-ġemp u meta konna fl-Ewropa meta kien fi Strasburgu ukoll intervista lil membru parlamentari Ewropew Daniel Attard wara li ir-rapport li ressaqu dwar it-turiżmu ġie milquh b'vot pożittiv ħafna. Fil-fatt, aħna tkellimna ma' Daniel Attard għaliex ridna nifhmu x'qiegħed jipproponi għall-futur tat-turiżmu Ewropew. Daniel, qegħdin hawnhekk wara li llum kienet pjuttost ġurnata impenjattiva fi Strasburgu għalik kemm bil-vot fuq il-budget għal 7 snin li ġejjin, però inti kellek aktar tajt aktar importanza f'dil ġurnata minħabba kien hemm rapport li lek taħdem ħafna u ħafna lih dak ir-rapport li rigwarda speċifikament it-turiżmu u dak kollu li jaqgħad miegħu. Ir-rapport għadda, il-vot kien tajjeb ħafna, naħseb kien vot b'saħħtu immens, però għall-benefiċċju ta' min qed isegwina, spjegalna ftit l-għan ta' dan ir-rapport u x'inhuma l-highlights tiegħu.
Kif qed tajjeb inti kellna jum importanti fuq nota personali, però mhux għalija personali biss, naħseb għal Malta illi għalina it-turiżmu huwa l-iktar pilastru ekonomiku importanti u anke fuq livell Ewropew. Mit-turiżmu kif ngħidu bil-Malti jekol kulħadd, però it-turiżmu ġab miegħu ċertu sfidi. Sfidi li l-Maltin u l-Awċin jgħixuhom ta' kuljum fit-toroq tagħna, fl-isptarijiet tagħna, min jħossib li manager tal-iskart, dan huma sfidi reali illi it-turiżmu b'saħħtu illi grazzi għalih inżidu l-pensjonijiet, inżidu l-istipendji, investu fl-edukazzjoni ta' wliedna. Però fl-istess ħin ġab miegħu ċertu sfidi. Anki pressjonijiet fuq l-akkomodazzjoni, fejn jidħlu short-term rentals u l-impatt tagħhom fuq il-prezzijiet tal-kirijiet residenzjali. Dawn huma sfidi li aħna nħossuhom f'Malta u Pawdex, però huma sfidi li meta nitkellmu hawnhekk nindunaw li huma sfidi komuni. U dawn l-isfidi komuni jiena provajt naħdem biex inġib l-appoġġ ta' sħabi biex nofru soluzzjonijiet komuni għal dawn l-isfidi. U naħseb irnexxielna, il-vot tal-lum wera illi irnexxielna, naturalment il-ħidma ma taqafx hawn, issa sta l-Kummissjoni illi timplementa l-proposti li ressaqna. Il-proposti ewlenin tagħna għandhom għanijiet ċari u diretti. Irridu nieħdu ħsieb qabel kollox l-ambjent ta' madwarna billi nippruvaw innaqsu u neliminaw pereżempju l-użu ta' single-use plastics fl-industrija tat-turiżmu, il-koll nafu, immorru fl-lukanda, issib il-plastik għas-sapun u containers oħrajn li huma single-use plastics li għadhom jintużaw b'mod prevalenti ħafna, mhux biss fil-lukandi anke fir-ristoranti u postijiet oħrajn, dak huwa eżempju wieħed. Irridu nħossib il-ħaddiema. Mingħajr ħaddiema ma jkollniex turiżmu. Nafu li hemm problema kemm bil-aċċess għal-ħaddiema. Titkellem mal-industrija jgħidulek m'għandniex biżżejjed biex naħdmu. Fl-istess ħin però dawk l-istess ħaddiema irridu naraw li jkollhom kundizzjonijiet tax-xogħol diċenti. U allura ġibna vot b'saħħtu biex ikollna investiment fil-ħiliet tal-ħaddiema u biex dawn il-ħaddiema intuhom dik li tissejjaħ EU Tourism Skills Card. Permezz din l-skills card ikunu rikonoxxuti għal ħiliet tagħhom, ikunu jistgħu jinnegozjaw mod kollettiv għal kondizzjonijiet tax-xogħol aħjar u ttejjeb il-prospetti tagħhom li jiċċaqalqu minn pajjiż għal ieħor fis-suq uniku Ewropew. Nindirizzaw ukoll b'mod partikolari ix-short-term rentals, din hija naħseb l-ikbar kisba f'dan ir-rapport.
Referejta li għana naqra bħala ġungla di l-ħaġa, kulħadd jisu jaffeċ fuq kulħadd.
Fil-rapport tiegħi hekk irreferejta fil-dikjarazzjoni tiegħi fil-Parlament Ewropew. Hekk iddiskrivejta għaliex hekk fil-verità. F'Malta mhux neċessarjament tinħass il-pressjoni li tinħass f'Barcellona pereżempju u joffruma, hemmhekk kellek anki residenti li protestaw, anki f'Venezja li protestaw kontra turisti. Għaliex kellek influss qawwi ta' short-term rentals li ma kinux regolati bil-konsegwenza illi ir-residenti spiċċaw sfurzati il-barra mill-postijiet fejn kibru. Aħna mhux qed nagħmlu gwerra fuq il-short-term rentals imma qed nagħtu s-saħħa lill-awtoritajiet lokali, kunsilli lokali, kunsilli reġjonali u anki gvernijiet nazzjonali biex ikunu huma illi jirregolaw però jkollhom is-saħħa legali illi jirregolaw. Kisba kbira din fir-rapport illi naħseb illi se tkun waħda importanti ħafna għall-Kummissjoni Ewropea li diġà wedet illi se tippreżenta strument legali liġi biex tirregola ix-short term rentals. Naħseb dawn kienu l-iktar kisbiet importanti, bat hemm ukoll naturalment l-aspett kulturali u l-ħarsin tal-identità tagħna.
Qabel ngħaddi għal dawk li huma importanti ħafna u naħseb aħna l-Maltin għandna l-identità u anke l-kultura tagħna li tagħmilna differenti minn pajjiżi oħra huma attrazzjoni għat-turisti. Inti enfasizzajt anke fil-konferenza stampa li għamilt wara l-ġurnalisti dwar il-konnettività. Issa hawnhekk di tolqotna direttament. Inti qed tgħid li isma' aħna ħan nirregolaw is-setturi turistiċi li rajt li sew referejt għalihom bħala ġungla. Però jekk inkunu bil-għaqal u nżidu aktar il-konnettività jistgħu jiġu anke aktar turisti ta' kwalità lejn pajjiżna, lejn pajjiżi oħra tal-Unjoni Ewropea, lejn pajjiżi li qed jitkarbu għat-turisti. Kif tista' ssir din, Daniel?
Ara ngħidu hekk. Malta l-lum il-ġurnata għodex isom belt kbira waħda, pero f'pajjiżi oħrajn, nerġa' nġib l-eżempju ta' Spanja, għaliex huwa Spanja huwa post li l-Maltin iżuru ħafna, però l-Maltin imorru lek sa Barcellona, jew sa Madrid, jew forsi sa Valencia, però Spanja għandha diversi reġjuni oħrajn illi sal-lum il-ġurnata dom mhux skoperti għalfejn għaliex m'għandniex il-mezz biex imorru. Jiġifieri jekk aħna irridu nkunu serji illi noħolqu bilanċ ġust bejn ir-reġjuni differenti tal-Ewropa, irridu ninvestu fil-konnettività. Konnettività li tfisser trasport sew jekk hux bil-baħar. U jekk għandna trasport bil-baħar irridu investiment Ewropew fil-vapuri illi ma jniġġsux li jaħdmu anke bl-elettriku għax fuq distanzi żgħar jista' jkollok vapuri li jaħdmu bl-elettriku jekk le jaħdmu bil-fuel illi ma jniġġis jew li jniġġis inqas. Irridu niftħu rotot anki għall-avjazzjoni billi konna regoli aktar flessibbli, speċjalment fejn jidħlu linji tal-ajru reġjonali u dawk li huma tal-istat għandna regoli stretti ħafna fuq livell Ewropew illi jagħmlu diffiċli ħafna għal linji tal-ajru biex joperaw u naħseb hemmhekk hemm bżonn iktar flessibilità biex ninvestu fuq ġodda u anke naturalment fil-ferroviji. Il-ferrovija hija mezz ta' trasport ewlieni fl-Ewropa. Rajna illi hemm impenn ċar mill-Kummissjoni biex tinvesti aktar fil-linja tal-ferrovija. U dawn huma mezzi biex it-turisti naħduhom lil dawk li nitkruhom bħala hotspots mill-bliet ewlenin u nifirxuhom f'żoni sbieħ immens illi joffru esperjenzi awtentiċi lit-turisti biex bekk it-turiżmu jkompli ikun ta' ġid tal-komunitajiet imma dak il-ġid nassiguraw illi mhux jeħel mal-ftit imma jasal għand kulħadd.
U meta jkun konċentrat f'hotspot bħalma sejjaħtilha inti hemmhekk għandek aktar problemi ta' skart, aktar problemi ta' infrastruttura, aktar problemi ta' kull servizz. Ġifieri meta inti tifrex qed tagħti esperjenza ġdida lit-turist u anke qed tgħin dik l-infrastruttura proprja ta' dik il-hotspot li qed nirreferu għaliha. Issa biex ngħaddu għal parti oħra, inti sa mill-bidunet tal-mandat tiegħek irrespettivament hux turiżmu jew le, però dejjem insistejt fuq dil-biċċa xogħol tal-kultura u l-volontarjat. Għaliex qiegħda l-qalbek daqshekk din? Għaliex tħoss li għandek titkellem fuqha u anke fir-rapport tat-turiżmu inkludejta hemmhekk?
Għaliex il-kultura jekk irridu tassew turiżmu ta' kwalità, rridu ninvestu fil-kultura tagħna. Għaliex turist ta' kwalità ma jiġix biex sempliċement jiddiverti jew biex imur fuq xi bajja, jew biex imur jattendi xi festival. Turist ta' kwalità huwa dak illi jiġi biex japprezza il-kultura. Din naraw anke fl-istatistika mhix sempliċement opinjoni. U allura jekk iridu turiżmu ta' kwalità illi jħalli aktar fl-ekonomija tagħna, irridu ninvestu fil-kultura. Issa meta ninvestu fil-kultura, irridu nirrikonoxxu illi mhux biss fil-każ ta' Malta anke f'pajjiżi oħra ta' ġifieri Ewropej, il-volontiera jibqgħu s-sinsla tal-prodott kulturali tagħna, il-wirt kulturali intangibbli. Ġifieri mhux il-iswar fil-każ ta' Malta, imma dak li jagħtina identità. L-iktar ħaġa komuni u li jifhem kulħadd hija l-festa, però mhux biss, hemm ħafna tradizzjonijiet oħrajn illi
l-ikel Malti, is-sfin Malti, il-marittimu Malti, da kollu kultura tagħna, l-identità tagħna.
Jekk irridu naħdossib il-kultura, irridu naħdossib il-volontiera tagħna. U dan ir-rapport jidentifika l-volontiera u qed isejjaħ biex l-Unjoni Ewropea tirrikonoxxihom, però mhux biss tappoġġhom u tinċentiva aktar żgħażagħ isiru volontiera u anki biex jekk hemm ċans minn volontiera isiru professjonisti fil-qasam tagħhom. Dina xi ħaġa importanti ħafna għaliex toffri dik illi nsejħula win-win scenario. Fejn għandek persuna illi minn volontier dak li tħobb tagħmel issa tagħmlu biqlieħ u allura meta tagħmlu biqlieħ qed tispeċjalizza mela l-persuna għandha xogħol ta' kwalità, għandha xogħol li tħobb u fl-istess ħin il-kultura qed titjieb għaliex il-persuna qed tispeċjalizza f'dak li tħobb tagħmel.
Taraħ li il-volontarjat f'dan il-qasam ta' kultura u identità jidħol ukoll fl-akkademja turistika għaliex kien propost din tal-akkademja u hemm ċertu skills ukoll li inti jekk inti għandek jekk jiena qed nirrappreżenta banda biex nibqgħu fuq it-tema tal-festa u għandna nies li jiġu speċifikament biex jaraw dik il-banda, biex jaraw kunċert tal-banda biex jaraw marċ, għandu jkun hemm ukoll il-persuna bi skills, bi ħiliet speċifiċi li qed tispjega lit-turist x'qed jiġri. Ġifieri hemmhekk ukoll dawn jgħinu lil xulxin qed nassumi.
Speċjalizzazzjoni tfisser li wieħed jinvesti fil-ħiliet tiegħu. U allura rridu li l-Ewropa tajn billi tinvesti fil-ħiliet tan-nies, inkluż fit-taħriġ f'ħiliet ġodda u anki f'ħiliet li bniedem għandu bżonn jadatta fix-xogħol tiegħu sew jekk l-aspett kulturali, però anki fejn jidħlu l-aspett tal-ospitalità. Naħseb anki hemmhekk, naħseb irridu naslu issa għal-livell li jmiss. Ġifieri mhux kwistjoni biss illi kollok is-servizz imma l-servizz huwa wieħed ta' kwalità. Dak kien pilastru li dan ir-rapport il-EU Tourism Skills Card f'Malta fil-fatt il-gvern diġà introdotta Skills Card li qed japplika fis-settur turistiku però mhux biss. Issa jifrixa fuq setturi oħra. Naħseb li dan is-suġġett, dan il-kunċett naħseb li huwa wieħed tajjeb u għalhekk estrapolajtu mill-politika nazzjonali għall politika Ewropea u ħadd gost ninnota li l-Kummissarju Ewropew jidher li abbraċċa din l-idea u issa nistennew li l-Kummissjoni Ewropea b'ħarqa kbira kif se timplementa din il-viżjoni illi m'għadix viżjoni tiegħi imma issa saret viżjoni tal-Parlament Ewropew.
Fl-aħħar parti tal-programm tagħna xtaqt li wkoll insemmi l-Ordni tal-Mertu Ewropew. Din hija inizjattiva tal-President tal-Parlament Ewropew Roberta Metsola, premju li qiegħed jingħata għall-ewwel darba biex jitfakru dawk kollha li ikkontribwew għall-Unità Ewropea għad-Demokrazija u anke biex isaħħu il-valuri Ewropej. Din iċ-ċeremonja sa ssir l-ewwel darba fil-plenarja li jmiss, jiġifieri il-ġimgħa d-dieħla propju ċeremonja sa ssir nhar it-tlieta li ġej fit-19 ta' Mejju. Ejja naraw eżattament però x'inhu dan l-Ordni tal-Mertu Ewropew.
Europe did not start with a grand idea. It began with people choosing to work together, refusing to accept that division was the only way forward. On May 9th, 1950, the Schuman Declaration gave that choice a clear path. For over 70 years, Europe has been shaped by people across the continent, people who turned responsibility into action, each in their own way, each adding something real, something lasting, in politics, science, arts, civil society, research, music, sport. Across all our communities, they are the ones who believed, who took risks, who stood up, who made things happen, who led the way. The European Order of Merit recognizes what they have done for Europe and the values behind it. This is a tribute from a grateful Europe and a call to keep going, because Europe is not a finished project. It is built every day by people who carry it forward.
U b'dak il-feature li rajna u anka smajna għal min qiegħed benefiċċju tar-radju anka min qiegħed isegwina fuq il-pjattaforma ta' Newsbook Malta, jiena hawnhekk wasalt fit-tmiem ta' programm ieħor, nirringrazzjakom ħafna tal-li kontu magħna, nittama li sibtu l-programm interessanti, jiena nwedkom aktar suġġetti li joqtuna mill-viċin ħankunu qegħdin nittrattawhom fil-ġimgħat li ġejjin. Kunu magħna il-ġimgħa d-dieħla.
Dan il-kontenut huwa kofinanzjat mill-Unjoni Ewropea mill-lotjiet tal-Parlament Ewropew fil-qasam tal-komunikazzjoni. Il-Parlament Ewropew ma kienx involut fit-tħejjija tiegħu u f'ebda każ mhu responsabbli jew marbut mal-informazzjoni u l-opinjonijiet espressi. Skont il-liġi applikabbli, l-awturi, il-persuni intervistati u l-pubblikaturi huma responsabbli mill-kontenut. Il-Parlament Ewropew mhuwiex responsabbli għal danni diretti jew indiretti li jistgħu jirriżultaw mill-kontenut ta' dan il-programm.